Take me through a little bit what you had to go through with him to get him ready to go home.
Yes, probably the main thing, deformity that he had, and we also talked about this a lot, of the kids with burns like that. I think he was burned over something like 50 to 70% of his body when this first happened.
And it was from an oil lantern that got knocked over when he was a baby?
An oil lamp that got knocked over and his bed caught on fire. So, and he had had some care and skin grafts and so forth in Iraq, but particularly he had a lot of burn scars on the left side of his face, and it burned off all the hair and the whole central part of the top of his scalp, and had several other problems, including the left ear was burned a lot. We did several operations to bring that back. It was almost sticking out a lot like kids with prominent ears, so that was almost a modified otoplasty that we did there to bring that back. And we used these tissue expanders in the scalp as Charles was mentioning, to stretch out the normal hair-bearing scalp and eventually be able to remove that scarred area on top. And in Mohammed's case, we got it almost up to within about an inch in the front of a fairly normal hairline, so that helped him a lot. And the other big problem he had with the burn scars on the left side of his face is it scarred his eyelids, so to the point where he wasn't able to actually completely close that left eye. So at one point we were able to, and his eyebrow was pulled way up on his forehead from the contractures or the burn scars pulling up. And we were able to let that down and let some of that other skin down into the upper eyelid. And so by the end he was able to completely close that eye, and that's going to be a big thing for him, because if you can't close your eye completely, you can get a real dry eye syndrome where it can actually affect your cornea and affect your vision. So that was a very important functional thing that we wanted to do, and a few other burn scars that we did. We had a lot of different procedures, including several operations we did on the left index finger and the wrist that were quite scarred. We tried to bunch these together as much as we can. We probably did about 16 or 18 different things on him, but
and you had wanted him to stay longer at the end, didn't you? And there was a scramble to get some more visas and extend his stay a little bit. In
that extent, the kids with bad burn scars are almost like the cleft lip and palate kids. You can always think of something else you could do to make the situation a little better, but after a while you got to quit operating and just let him be a kid and let him play soccer and baseball and leave him alone for a while.
There was a moment when he came back, we were talking with him, and you had mentioned the fact that he never took his hat off, and he was walking around without his hat on.
Right. I knew that that he felt much better about himself, and that his self-esteem had been restored when after the last surgery and after all the bandages and everything came off. I got him a hairbrush, and he started to, brush his hair, and then he wasn't so attuned to having a hat on all the time, and so I think that was one of the measures of success.
To you, was this mostly about looks, about appearance? Did that have any other repercussions, you think?
The main ramification was that where Mohammed lives and with the tribe that his family belongs to, the marriages are arranged by the families. And because he was so badly scarred, he wasn't going to have a normal life. He wasn't going to have the same opportunities that other kids who weren't so badly scarred would have had. And now I think that he is going to have a normal life, and I think that he is going to fit into his society pretty much like anybody else.
How are you doing? This boy became a big part of your life, a big part of your wife's life, your family. How are you doing?
Well, I'm glad that we've worked out a way to keep in touch with him. Zena from the host family and Beth and I try to talk to him about once a week and keep track on him and make sure that he's brushing his teeth and make sure that he's eating right and making sure that he's doing some other things, like that. But it was tough. It was a here today, gone tomorrow situation. And I had to deal with it on the trip back. leaving him there, at the airport in Baghdad, and then getting on that plane and flying back to Jordan and so on. But there are little things around our house that are reminders of Mohammed.
What was that plane ride back like?
Oh, it was like, in the Army, one of the things we do is, leave no man behind. And I left him behind. So, from that aspect, that was tough.
When are you going to see him again?
Who knows? We've talked to him about working on his education and doing well in school, and Iraq right now is probably not on anybody's tourist map, but I think eventually in the years to come we'll see him again.
Did you gentlemen like the idea that he seemed to really connect with Michigan? I mean, he was a Pistons fan, an MSU fan. I don't know, the Tigers were just huge for him. Yes,
it was so much fun, and he's become such a fan, and he's really tuned into Michigan State. I mean, that would be our dream. It would be if he could, do well in school while he's there and come back and go to college at Michigan State. I don't know if that's going to happen, but
maybe
you got to have a dream.
Could this have happened without the university?
No, and it would just almost. Maybe we shouldn't be surprised. It's a wonderful community, but it was remarkable the way the entire community got behind this whole effort so much. We can't thank the Saids, the family that took care of him, and all the people at the Islamic Center and the school there, and just everybody in town. I mean, you'd mention something you needed for him, and everybody wanted to help and do what they could for him, and it's very heartwarming.
It took a lot of people to make this happen.
It did. The three of us up here, we're only the tip of the spear. There were many, many more people that were involved in one way or another with turning this into a successful story.
A couple of seconds left. Do you believe in fate?
I do. And who knows? I hope that Beth and I will see him again.
Wonderful. Well, gentlemen, thank you very much for being with me today. We are just about out of time. I want to thank my guests for being here and to you for watching. We have much, much more, as I said, on Mohammed and his story at our website at msutoday.msu.edu. I'm Jim Peck. I'll see you right here next time on MSU Today in Studio.